Hello, this is Eileen, the environmental educator. And in this video, we're going to talk about something that I'm telling East Palestine over there in Ohio they need to get using, which is hemp. Why? It detoxifies the soil and removes harmful chemicals and pollutants. So they're in dire need for that. So right here, we're moving soil, moving water, transporting it. Has the EPA even said, hey, let's just go out there and start planting hemp and get these toxins? It even works on dioxin, as you're going to see. So, I contacted the people of East Palestine. I contacted their government at the end of last week, maybe, beginning of this week, and their press who I did not in here just because, you know what, they're not going to care. They just don't care. Hey, so I'm putting the government to the test because the government, if they started making announcements like, hey, we're going to stand on our own 2 feet, this is a really bad situation that, yes, the environmental educator, me, would have prevented had we just not even been using plastics, which it was reported that the chemicals on the train are chemicals that are used in the production of plastics. And since we haven't done that, we can start remediating the consequences of the statistical probability that someday something really bad is going to happen with those. And we can use hemp to clean it up. So, that's what Americans are supposed to do, right? Not just sit and get Aaron Brockovich to, hold the train companies' feet to the fire and it'll be decades in litigation. And meanwhile, the problem persists where if we just started planting hemp, we could start being the solution right now. Okay. So, I again went to the government of East Palestine here tonight. So yeah, it's these emails up top here, and then Bobby Kennedy at the Children's Health Defense, and Project Veritas, who doesn't care, Infowars, who will never give you any good environmental information, O'Keefe, Gore, Gore, who has been refusing solutions since shortly after '93, Rebel News, and this was the lady who she has a dog kennel or something. She's got a bunch of acres out there, and she was one of the first people that first residents that was getting press out there. So I just said lead repair with hemp. This is my tomorrow video. I tell them and decontaminate, then build the hemp industry, which can be used for everything. I mean, Aaron Brockovich, she could still help with actually getting solutions implemented, not just talking about how bad these companies are that these disasters happen and they don't do anything. We could actually get into solutions, and Aaron Brockovich could introduce them because Bobby Kennedy won't. Okay, Bobby went out there. Did he talk about it? No, 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 no. I mean, I wasn't there. I didn't really see the context of Bobby's talks, but I guarantee it was, I'm a lawyer, man. These people are bad, bad, bad. Bobby hasn't stopped using these chemicals since '98. Okay, so Bobby talks a good talk. He was out there on his presidential campaign, I guess. So Gore. I tell them Gore will never talk about it, but East Palestine can get going on implementing the real, proven, and needed hemp solution. Will you? So we'll see. But right here, hemp can clean contaminated soil. Hemp, the plant that cleans soil, and you'll love learning how it works. It's pretty interesting. And American Spa study shows hemp cleans contaminated soil. And right here, we're going to go over those 3 articles. If you want to get into a lot more depth of things in, scientific talk, I guess you can take a gander over this right here from the National Library of Medicine, the National Center for Biotechnology Information. But for time purposes, we're just going to stick to these few other articles and highlight the important stuff. But hemp can clean contaminated soil, and there's been countless articles to the extol of various attributes of the hemp plant. It says not only can hemp fiber be used to create anything from clothing and paper to concrete bricks, but hemp plants also possess the remarkable ability to pull foreign contaminants and heavy metals out of polluted soil through a process called photoremediation. And so hemp is what they call a hyper accumulator. And there's certain plants known as hyperaccumulators, and they have the capacity to absorb metals and other toxins from soil by metabolizing it through their roots, where it is then transferred and stored in their stems and leaves. These plants are also able to degrade and render certain contaminants harmless. Okay, so why has no one brought this up about East Palestine? You had somebody eventually show up from the White House, Mr. Environmental himself, Bobby. I pretend to be my daddy, and I tell him all the time, you're not. Your father did the right thing because it was the right thing to do. And, if Bobby Kennedy Sr., Junior, Senior, was presented the environmental solutions back in the 90s when the Kennedys were first given them. Um, I want to believe that Bobby Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Jack's brother, would have done the right thing because he was a person of principle, and those are very rare people. And Bobby Kennedy, regardless of the coattails he rides on, is not a person of principle. Okay, so but imagine if Bobby went out there when he was out there in his presidential campaign talking about this, they'd probably already be ordering seeds. So, these are just some of the metals: lead, cadmium, arsenic, aluminum, and mercury that hemp can work, against, help solve the problem of. And it also works near a nuclear plant. It after the infamous reactor explosion at the nuclear power plant in Chernobyl in '86, it caused numerous toxic compounds to be projected into the surrounding areas. Farmers close to the blast zone were understandably worried about what impact the radioactive particles would have on the soil. In an attempt to clean out the toxic materials and reduce further dispersion of radionuclide, different hyperaccumulators were planted, most notably hemp. While this solution was innovative at the time, it did present a new set of problems in terms of how to dispose the radioactive crops, including how to harvest and transport them without the risk of threat of further contamination. But right here, this is in a couple of the articles that I have here. There was an Italian farmer who discovered his land had been contaminated with dioxin, which they're talking about in East Palestine, a toxic chemical that had been leaking from a large steel plant that was nearby. The government had detected dioxin in his livestock, so he was forced to slaughter his entire herd of 600 sheep. In order to save his land, he came up with the idea to use hemp crops for photoremediation in order that they might leach the toxic chemicals out of the soil. Although the process is time consuming, an added benefit is that the photo extracted crops can later be burned as biofuel, so providing an easy renewable fuel source. Yeah, a lot better than e-cars that are run off of coal that were don't have a power grid to support. Okay, as I said, maybe I did. I've said it in other videos. The White House, I said it. I said it in here. The White House, they don't care. Right here. Nor the president hates anything real with substance. Environmental White House. I said it there. Pete Buttigieg, he was out there. Was he talking hemp? No, 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 no. No, I think he was talking that there's too many white construction workers, right? You damn Americans working. Okay, so, Yeah, there's a lot of, well, enough information in these little articles here. Um, it says that hemp that has been growing in the same field for generations will likely have clean soil because all of the harmful metals and contaminants have been removed over time. So let's see. There's some interesting things in these articles. So this says here that cars, industrial waste, and chemical fertilizers can cause a buildup of a toxic metal called cadmium in soil. This metal often finds its way into agricultural lands via the water used to grow the food supply. Hemp has a high tolerance to cadmium stress, making it a great candidate to absorb impurities in these contaminated sites. Hemp can absorb many different heavy metals, including nickel, lead, cleaning all types of toxic buildup. And it says scientists have tested hemp's ability to remove radioactive chemicals from soil around the Chernobyl nuclear plant, and have been successful. And it says that hemp's ability to absorb such a wide variety of contaminants make hemp an ideal way to detoxify soil in most situations! Exclamation point. But before we move on, right here, cars and industrial waste. That's us. Okay, so we as humans, it's not just if global warming is real, but let me tell you, all of the processes that require cars to move have consequences. And you know what? Imagine if we were driving hemp and being fueled by hemp. Yeah, yeah. But hey, let's not talk solutions. Right here, it says human activity around the world is causing toxic chemicals to pollute surrounding soils, causing soil pollution and major problems for agricultural lands. And they talk a little more here, about how, all of our trash and waste, cause problems. Exhaust from your car, runoff from factories, even household waste are causing pollutants to enter soil and create hazardous environments for humans and animals. So, living responsibly, living to just stop manufacturing to dispose of, that 24/7, 365 endless processes going on, is beyond abusive. And that causes a lot of what they're talking about there. It says here what makes hemp so good is that hemp roots reach from 1.5 to 3 feet in length. So hemp is a relatively tall plant with long roots. These roots can reach more than just the top layer of soil, removing a more widespread contamination from the lower layers of soil. This can be a relatively quick process as well, since hemp plants can reach full maturation in as little as 180 days. The quick growing season means that cleaning the soil is not an overly long, drawn out process. And it says that hemp from contaminated sites can still be useful. Once the hemp has fully grown and absorbed toxins from the ground, the plants do not have to be tossed out like trash. The heavy metals and contaminants are absorbed by the hemp plants and have been found to be stored in the leaves of the plants, meaning the floral buds, which are where the purest CBD comes from, and are still usable to make hemp biofuels. And this little video talks about how hemp helps soil. But yeah, those biofuels never talked about anywhere, right? So Mr. Secretary of Transportation out in East Palestine, he could have been going, yeah, hey man, I'm environmental too, man. Of course, I'm all into all that. And hey, we just need to get planting some hemp, and then we can be making some biofuels. No, 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 no. He's out there pushing disastrous e-vehicles. And so this American Spa article says study shows hemp helps clean contaminated soil. And yeah, that just makes it look Americana. That's just a beautiful picture. And so this article talks about, how the roots of the plant help dig deep into contaminated soil and absorb harmful chemicals, as well as any beneficial nutrients that might remain. The polluting elements are removed from the soil and stored in the plant, usually in the leaf, stalk, or stems. And it says here that, and because hemp reaches maturity within 6 months, some believe the soil contaminants do not have enough time to affect or harm the plant, leaving the hemp safe for human consumption. And so, they say there's another reason here. In addition to people, pets, and soil, hemp is also helping the bee population. Because this study found that 20 different types of bees on flowering hemp, proving that hemp in ecosystems can support pollinators and subsequently bee populations. So yeah, at Hemp Untapped, put out this little hemp for the bees. Research is suggesting that hemp cultivation could potentially assist in the declining bee population. Hemp overcomes the cap um, during the time period that other plants stop flowering. It therefore has the ability to act as a new pollen source for bees and could sustain their population. And you know what? Hemp can help sustain the population of the people in East Palestine. We'll just find out if they will stand on their own 2 feet and get on solutions. At a minimum, demand the railroad companies start planting hemp, get an actual solution going, or they can be with Aaron Brockovich and maybe Bobby Kennedy and spend decades in a court battle while people are being negatively affected by the consequences of something that should have never happened if any environmental voice had allowed solutions since November of 93. But right now, where we're at, the best thing we can do is get going with hemp as a solution. So stay tuned, people.